Lester Fixed It Now here in the Doggmatic workshop with a special announcement. Doggmatic is going to do a series for Christmas where in his workshop he's going to build Christmas trees from wood of all different shapes and sizes, starting with this one right here. So let's get to the workshop. Thanks, Lester. In episode 1 of my building your Christmas tree out of wood, we're going to build this Christmas tree. As you can see, it actually turned out, this is the first time I've built it, and it turned out pretty good. And all I used was one 1x8 piece of pine to build the whole thing. Now, the star I just took from scrap wood. It was not easy to do, so you may want to do something a little bit different on the top. Hope maybe you can go to your dollar store and find like a plastic one or a lit up one, but I could not find one in my dollar store. I got the lights from my dollar store and I just hot glued them around, and I didn't want to see the wires, so I tucked them underneath. So let's get building. On today's project, it's going to be something a little different. I haven't seen anybody else do it this way, so I'm going to try it and see how it turns out. So we're going to use just a normal, cheap, select pine or whatever, 1x8, which is about 7 1/4 inches wide and about 3/4 inch thick. And we're going to cut it down into pieces. So we're going to do, the first section is going to be 7 inches 6'5" together, and then the next section will be 6'5'4", and the next section will be 5'4'3", and the top section will be 4'3'2", and then the top tip. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these on my chop saw here, and we're going to do obviously 1 7, 2 6s, 2 5s, 2 4s, 2 3s, and a 2, and the 1 inch top. Now the top will be a little more difficult as it goes to a point, so we'll show you how to do that. So let's get cutting. Now what I'm going to do with this is cut them straight. I know that I said I will be saying that we're going to be doing 30-degree angles, but I'm going to cut all the boards first. All the 7, the 2 6s, 2 5s, 2 4s, 2 3s, all I'm going to cut them to length right now. And then what I'm going to do is each section is going to be, I'm going to glue and nail it together. So it'll be the 765 first section. I'm going to put it together. That way when I turn the chop saw 30 degrees to cut that angle, they're going to be cut together, so it will be nice and smooth. So if I cut everything 30 degrees now, sometimes they're just, if there's just a hair off, you're going to see a little kind of, I don't know, a little jog. So you're going to go from 7 to the 6 one, and you might get a tiny little jog. So I'm going to cut them all straight first. Then I'll do each section. I'm going to nail them and connect them together. And then I can do the chop saw, because it's 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch. So that's what, 1.5 inches, 2 1/4. My chop saw can cut through that no problem. The table saw, if you do that way, unless you have a longer blade, mine only goes 1.5 inches, a little over 1.5 inches. So I wouldn't be able to use the table saw to do that if I put them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call pieces first, and then I'm going to put them together in sections, and then we'll change it to 30 degrees on the chop saw.
Yeah.
after all the cuts, this is what we have left over, just in case we make a mistake, but we also need this for the base. So we'll end up cutting 3 pieces for the base as well. I nailed them together. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these down on an angle. Easier, hopefully, to cut them down as one piece. Got 2 of them done now. So you can see there's 3 pieces in each. They're each with a 3/4 of an inch. So what's that? 3/4 inch and a half, 2 1/4 thick. So we'll get another piece here and put it on top, and then we'll have a base. Or we don't even put a base, you just have it sit. We'll take a look. I think I want a base, even if it's a small base. You know, even if it's, I don't know, something like that on the bottom. I don't know, we'll play around with it. So I'm gonna sand them down, and obviously you can't nail it unless you have a lot longer brad nail. Now you could put a long screw in, like in a corner 2 1/4. You can always put a 3.5 inch screw in there if you want, and that would hold it together. But that's what I mean, these 3 are all nailed and glued together. So we'll just figure out how we're going to handle this. I think what we'll do is we'll sand these down till they're the way we want, and we'll glue these 2 together while we're prepping up the top piece and go from there. I did one of my pieces there to get it 2 of them together. So that will go like that. Now I need my top piece. I don't know if I can really do 2 pieces again. I have, let's see what my about 1.5 inches. Let's see what I can do to get that top piece. The hardest part is trying to get these all to line up into it hits a point. But we'll see what we can do. I got one of the pieces, very hard to get on the table saw. So it fits pretty close. I might have to do a little bit of sanding to get it perfect. But I still got to get this top. So I think what I'm going to do, since this didn't fit exact, is I'm going to have to cut this, which should be interesting. Just glued the 4th piece on here. So I glued these 2 together and let it sit overnight. Then I glued that one on a few hours ago. I just glued this one on. Problem with that, the top piece, is I don't really have anything to put weight on. The other ones at least had enough of a base to put some weight on it to hold it down. That one's so thin. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get some weight on it just so it doesn't, so it kind of glues nice and strong. I am going to put a base on it. So I did have one piece here that I will put as the base. As I was thinking of what to do for the top and getting ready to put some weight on it, I found a scrap piece from something else I cut here, little triangle. So I decided to see if I can cut a piece. And I was able to cut a piece that will fit on top. And it's almost perfect on top. Now, the downside is it's not the 30-degree angle, but looking at it, you can't really tell because it's such a small piece that you can't tell that it's not. Now, the only downside is it's only cut on the angle this way and angle this way. I can't cut it these angles because now the piece is so small, but I think that looks really good, and for that fit, I think that's what I'm going to do. Just hopefully I don't lose that piece now. So I got a 2x6 and I built up beside it. Yeah, so you can see here. So I'm going to lean this on the top piece. Then put some weight on it. Got a full can of paint here. Add a little bit of weight to do that. So once that's dry, I will put the base on, put the top on, and it's complete other than if I want to stain it or paint it. So once we're done waiting for this to dry, we'll come back. So I was playing around with some of the scrap pieces I had laying around to figure out how to do the base. And what I've determined is I didn't want to go 3 high. It looked a little too high. I didn't want to stack them. Here, I get some more scrap pieces here. So I didn't want to, as you notice how tall, I don't know, it's hard to see there, but it's in 2¼ inches. But too high was a nice height. Also, I was doing a 30-degree because I was going to make it about 3.5 the base, 3.5, 4-inch base. And I noticed that on a 30-degree angle, the surface area of the base, I wanted it a little bit more. So what I ended up doing is, it's hard to tell on the camera, but it's only going to be 20 degrees. So what I'm going to do is make the base about 3.5 by 3.5 and a 2 high and only a 20-degree base. And that will allow more surface area to connect the rest of the tree to. I know it's pretty central, so it won't tip over unless it's tapped, but I like it to be a little more sturdy. So that's what I've decided to go with, is make it a full angle like that on about a 20-degree instead of a 30-degree. Base is glued on now. Top piece is glued on. Not going to not touch it because it's been only a few hours since it's been put on. But now I'll probably paint this green, so I'll do like a dark green. I got some green here. It's called sap green, Montmardo with acrylic. So probably do that. I'll put some, like maybe like some walnut or something stain on the bottom. And it's easy to remember when I said 30 degrees for everything. Obviously, except the top little piece may not. Actually, but you don't have to do the base like I did. You can do the base just straight up and down if you want. It doesn't matter. You do the base any way you want, whatever you're happy with. But you can do 765, start at 7 or start at 6, right? Or even anywhere in between, it doesn't matter. And I just go 1 inch, start at 1 inch lower. So if this is 7, this one's 6, this one's 5, this one's 4. Or if this one's 6, this one's 5, this one's 4, this one's 3. So any way you want to do that on a 30-degree angle, that way you get kind of the branches sticking out. And here's the final product. I think once you paint it, add lights, what I did is I went to your local dollar store. I got this little 30-pack of lights, as you can see. I used a glue gun. I painted the base walnut so it looks like a trunk. Trees green. Then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the star, but Kahlua said she wanted it to look the rustic wood, so I just made the star out of wood. We hid the wire in the back where you won't see it, and turned out really nice. And I'll turn out the lights so you can see it. So I think it once you get the final product, looks way better now that it's painted and with the lights. And will go perfect with the Christmas decor. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell to be notified when I post another video. And we'll talk to you later.